13 Huge Coronation Street spoilers for next week from the 18th to the 22nd of March 2024. What's next on the Cobbles? 1. Max places Roy in danger. With suspicion mounting that Roy may have murdered Lauren, he confides to Nina and Yasmin that he's been asked to go back to the police station for another interview, unaware his conversation has been overheard by an internet sleuth. 2. Roy is questioned by DS Swain. Nina is horrified to discover that more amateur sleuths have been digging at the Bat Roost site in the hopes of uncovering incriminating evidence against Roy. Worried that the sleuths have damaged the roost, Roy heads to the site with shovels and bin bags to ensure it hasn't been disturbed. However, when he returns, DS Swain is waiting to take him to the station. 3. Roy faces more backlash. As the residents gather for Lauren's vigil in the precinct, Roy takes the opportunity to address the crowd and speak fondly of Lauren. Unfortunately, some lads make nasty comments in response and begin filming Roy. Later, Evelyn, Carla and Nina try to convince Roy to keep a low profile until the police find out who really killed Lauren. Nina confesses to Carla that she's growing increasingly concerned for Roy. 4. Max accuses Sabrina of talking to the press. Gossip begins to swirl when the latest article about Lauren describes her as a sex worker. Bobby shares the article with Max, and the two jump to the conclusion that Sabrina may have been responsible. Sabrina makes it clear to Max and Bobby that she told no one about Lauren's sex work and is offended that they would think her responsible. Max feels terrible for doubting her. 5. Eileen learns Sean is keeping secrets. Eileen is shocked to learn that Sean still hasn't told Violet about Dylan's predicament and urges him to be honest, as Violet has a right to know what her son has got involved in. With Eileen piling the pressure on Sean, he's relieved when Dylan tells him that he's already spoken to Violet about the court hearing, and she can't attend as she's in Ibiza. 6. Violet is furious with Sean. At Dylan's court hearing, he pleads guilty to carrying a knife in a public place and receives a community service order. Afterwards, Dylan thanks Sean for his support and pledges to turn his life around, but the pair are shocked to return home to find Eileen with Violet. Eileen confesses she called Violet over her plans not to attend the hearing, and realized Violet knew nothing about it. Sean is hurt when Violet lays into him over his bad parenting skills. 7. Paul continues to deteriorate. Paul's new PA arrives, but it becomes clear she's out of her depth as she struggles to understand him when he begins slurring his words. Billy tries to play the incident down, but Summer urges him to acknowledge that Paul's speech is deteriorating. Billy reveals his concerns to Summer that by discussing Paul's deterioration with him, it might hasten Paul's plans to end his life. When he discovers that Summer intends to postpone her American trip, he urges her not to give up on her dreams. Later, Billy masks his worry when Paul tells him he's put him down to do karaoke at the Rovers. 8. Evelyn is shocked by Cassie's past. Evelyn reads the online article about Lauren and is stunned to learn that she was a sex worker. Meanwhile, Cassie tells Tyrone that the article about Lauren has brought back some terrible memories from her past, and is angry to discover Evelyn and Daisy chatting about Lauren's job in the shop. Evelyn and Fizz are shocked when Tyrone explains Cassie's reaction is due to her own history of sex work, but does Tyrone know the full story? 9. Steve tells Tracy the truth about Tommy. Amy tries to convince Steve that it would be best if she's the one who tells Tracy that Tommy intends to move to Spain. Steve initially agrees to Amy's request, but can't resist spilling the news to Tracy that Tommy has accepted the job coaching a Spanish team. Later, Steve uses the news as an opportunity to try and convince Tracy to give their marriage another chance. Meanwhile, Tommy begs for the opportunity to explain himself to Tracy. 10. Damon's criminal job gets underway. After their latest house viewing, Sarah's heart is set on it and Damon assures her that he'll do whatever he can to raise the money. Sarah remains oblivious to the fact that Damon has been pressured into taking part in a robbery orchestrated by Harvey in exchange for a cut of the money. When Harvey calls with instructions, Damon makes excuses for missing Harry's party and makes out that he's meeting a new client. 11. Daniel has a theory. Daniel received a shock when he was brought in for questioning over Lauren's disappearance, and D.S. Swain interrogated him about the nature of his relationship with Lauren. Daniel receives more bad news when he reveals to Bethany that he's been suspended from work while he remains under suspicion for the crime, but he already has an idea about who reported him to the police. 12. Leanne is inspired by Rowan. Simon is pleased to see Nick and Leanne turn a corner, and Leanne reveals that Rowan, who she met at the recent self-help event, gave her some good advice. Simon invites Leanne to the next Institute event and Rowan is delighted to see her again. Leanne and Simon are full of praise for his latest seminar and it's clear the newcomer is enjoying their flattery. Later, Leanne tells Nick about how inspirational she finds Rowan. 13. Gemma and Chesney take Joseph to Oakill. Having decided to take up Linda's offer to pay for Joseph's attendance at Oakill, Chesney and Gemma attempt to hide the frostiness between them ahead of the visit to the school. On the day of the visit, it's clear that something is troubling Joseph.
Các bạn vừa theo dõi một sản phẩm của Oakill. Xin chào và hẹn gặp lại các bạn video tiếp theo.